Right, we're talking about objections, guys, before the camera ran out of time, so we've got another one going here. There are some common objections. First common objection is by a seller. You're telling them they should have their property in a range so that we can attract as much of the market as possible, create competition, get people to fall in love with the property and actually get some offers happening. And the seller says to you, Geoff, everyone's going to offer the lower end of the range. Well, let me tell you, first of all, they don't. People tend to go out, look at other properties, compare this property they're looking at to what they've seen and know what it's worth. You know, if you're asking 460 to 540 and they've seen properties at 490 that they don't like, then they're going to know that this property is worth around 500, 510. And let me tell you, people now assume the middle. They hope they're going to get it for the lower end of the range. They come and have a look based on that, but they know in their hearts that they're going to have to pay what it's worth. But the most important thing is they are there at the property and looking at it. So, Mr. Seller, you just got to go with me on this. Trust me on the fact that I'm able to convert one of those buyers if I've got them at the house, but it's very hard for me to convert them if they're not there. So let's get some buyers through the property and let me worry about using my skills to negotiate a good price for you with the volume of buyers that we're getting through. We don't want a narrow funnel where we're only getting a couple of people through. We want a wide funnel. In fact, we want a wide funnel such as that, where we're getting a stack of inquiry on the internet from our advertising and hopefully getting a stack of inquiry and a stack of viewings and people through the property. If we've got that, we've got some competition happening and a much better opportunity, not only to get an offer, but because there's a lot more volume of people looking to get an offer at the right price. Many times over the years, I've not only got the middle of the range, which is normal, but in some instances I've got above the range. A property many years ago in Duncraig where the people, believe it or not, thought the property was worth 130,000, that's how long ago it was, and please don't look at me and say this guy's ancient. And I said to them, look, it backs onto a park, it's insecure, a low fence, you know, they want 135, sorry, and I said, look, 130 I think will kill it. Now, we put it in a buyer feedback range, which was quite new then, and I remember this because it stands out, buyer feedback range 120,000 to 150,000. Forget about the asking prices, a long time ago. 120 to 150, we got 5 offers on that property and we sold it for 152,000. Now, do you think I didn't keep the ad and keep the copies of those 5 offers to use when I went and presented to future listing presentations? That's pretty good evidence of how it works, isn't it? Another time I appraised a property in Hillary's and I said to the person, your property's worth about 360,000. Let's try this new price ranging method of selling, and we put in a range 300 to 500,000. Now the seller said, Geoff, you're on drugs, mate. I mean, jeepers creepers, how's that ever going to work? Well, we got some people that inquired on the property. They looked at it. The seller said, I want more than 360. I said, well, I don't think you're going to get it. Now, normally, had we agreed, I would have priced that, put that property on the market for what, 399,000? Now, these buyers came through. Their first offer was 369,000. Cut a long story short, we negotiated hard with them over about 3 weeks and they paid 444,000 for that property that I told the seller was worth 360. And all evidence in the area said it was worth 360, but these people loved it so much that they paid 444. Now, had that been on the market for 399, these people thought they were going to spend around 360, ended up spending 444. So there's another lesson, isn't it? What do budgets mean to people? Absolutely nothing if they can get more money. So that first objection of everyone offer the lowest amount simply doesn't wash. You know, my experience is that if you know how to sell it and you know how to use buyer feedback ranging, you have no problems with people getting stuck on the lower end of the range. They will buy a property not because of the price, but because they love it, but they can't fall in love with it if they don't come through and have a look at it. So get them through by using buyer feedback ranging. Another objection is the buyer that comes through and says, you know, mate, you know, what do you got this range on it for? What's the real price? Now, my reaction to that is, good question, Mr. Buyer. For too long, agents and sellers of properties have been putting prices on properties that are too high or that are unrealistic, that don't give people like you, the buyer, an opportunity to come through and see the property and make up your own mind as to what you think it's worth. So what we do is we price this property in a buyer feedback range so that it's well below what we think it's going to get, it's above what we think it's going to get, so with the intention of people like you having an opportunity to circle it in the paper, print out a brochure off the internet and come through and tell us what you think it's worth. Now, obviously it's a pointless discussion, Mr. Buyer, if you don't like the property, so do you like the property? And if you do like it, compared to everything else you've seen, what do you think it's worth? Now, obviously there's a situation sometimes where the buyer will say, listen, I'm only prepared to pay 460,000. And my reaction to that will be, look, you know, I'll take your details and I'll make a note of it, but at this stage we're not going to accept 460,000. I'll keep in touch with you, and if we get a better offer, which I'm sure we will, because indications in the market are that we're going to get somewhere around the middle of the range, maybe a bit better, I'll let you know. Now, from my experience, their reaction to that, if they really like the property, is, well, no, I don't want to wait, what have I got to pay to buy the property now? But again, the secret to this whole thing is that they are there and they're talking to you. Whereas if that property was asking for 540,000, you would never have met the people. They wouldn't even rung up. Now, the worst thing that can happen is they don't buy that property, but you've got another contact to go and sell one of your other listings to. But at least you're talking to people. They're another person that you can put on your database and stay in touch with, which is a handy thing to have in a market that's not flush with buyers. So, what's another objection? You know, there's probably a few more of them, but at the end of the day, you've got the understanding that you're widening the funnel, you're getting people through, you believe in it, and this is something that you've really got to believe in. If you don't believe in biofeedback ranging, don't use it. Stick to your fixed price. But if you stick to your fixed price, be prepared to wait a long while and to lose a lot of listings out the back door. What else can I cover on biofeedback ranging before we wrap up? Very importantly, if a property is priced in a biofeedback range, and we're getting back to the regulations here and the way that DOSEP will look at this, if a property is priced 460 to 540, an $80,000 range, and you get an offer of 470, for instance, and you knock back that offer, you officially reject it, you can never advertise that property below 470 again. In fact, you can't advertise it at 470, so you'd have to lift your range to 480 to 540, which starts to defeat the purpose. So instead of doing that, you simply don't reject offers. What you do is on the proper form, which I'm happy to provide to people if they want it, on the proper form you say to them, look, we're not rejecting your offer, but we're keeping it on hold. At this stage we're not willing to take what you've offered, however we'll stay in touch, and at some stage in the future, if things change, we may. Now, often people will say, well, no, I'll withdraw my offer, and you can say, well, we're not rejecting it, but I'm happy for you to withdraw it. We're going to continue to advertise the property in the same range, and if they withdraw the property, the offer, you haven't rejected it. So guys, it's been a bit of a rush, but for so long now I've been hearing people totally have a misconception about biofeedback ranging. So I thought I'd take the opportunity off the cuff after my little talk with Clancy about this very subject, and just get the flip video out and throw something up for you guys to hopefully try and get a better understanding of biofeedback ranging. I'm happy to run a little training on this for anybody out there in the marketplace. If we can get half a dozen people together, you know, I've got a training room here, and I'll put together an hour and a half, and happily give my time to providing a better understanding of this, because the more people that understand it, the more people that use it properly, the less chance there is of people getting it wrong and hurting themselves, hurting the buyers, and hurting the sellers out there in the marketplace. So happy to share. Hope you got something out of that. Geoff Baldwin, Regional Manager and owner of Remax in Western Australia. I want to say thanks to Clancy. Turn that camera around, Clancy, and get a look at yourself, mate. Go on. That's the way. Ugly bugger, isn't he?
Hi, folks.
So thanks, mate. I put him on the spot. Thanks very much for that, and list and sell, guys.